Aliens gave Earth 48 hours to surrender. They weren't ready for our response. Farmers were tending their fields, children were walking to school, and the small town of Brookville was just waking up. No one noticed the strange shapes slowly descending from the sky, shimmering like silver in the sunlight. Emma Lewis, a young pilot in the nearby Air Force base, was the first to see them. She was in the control tower, scanning the radar for routine traffic when a series of strange readings appeared. They were not planes. They moved too fast, too silently, and they were massive. "Lieutenant Lewis, what do you see?" asked Colonel Harper, her commanding officer. Emma pointed to the radar screen. "Sir, I'm not sure. These objects, they aren't from Earth. They're moving too fast and they just appeared over Missouri and Kansas. And look, more are coming from the west." Colonel Harper's face turned pale. "Get the president on the line, now." Within an hour, the entire country was aware of the approaching ships. News channels interrupted their programming with live footage of enormous, metallic shapes descending through the atmosphere. People on the streets were staring at the sky, their phones recording every moment. At the White House, President Margaret Collins watched the live feed with her national security team. Her hands gripped the edge of the desk as she struggled to maintain her composure. "They're not sending a message yet," said General Harris. "No communications, nothing." "Maybe they don't want to talk," suggested Dr. Alan Pierce, a top scientist at NASA. "Maybe this is an attack." Suddenly, a loud, mechanical voice filled the room. It did not come from the television or the speakers. It seemed to resonate directly in their minds. "People of Earth," the voice said, "we are the Talirians. You have 48 hours to surrender. Submit all weapons and technology. Compliance will ensure survival. Resistance will result in your extinction." The room was silent. No one spoke. President Collins swallowed hard. 48 hours, she repeated. "We don't even know what they want or how strong they are." General Harris turned to the scientists. "Estimate their power. How many ships are out there? What can they do?" Dr. Pierce shook his head. "They're unlike anything we've seen. Their ships are massive, but they move with precision. Weapons, well, if they have weapons like their size suggests, any major city could be destroyed in minutes. But we don't know their limits. We don't even know if they are biological or something else." Meanwhile, across the globe, people were reacting in different ways. Some panicked. In Tokyo, families fled their homes. In London, soldiers were deployed to guard key landmarks. In New Delhi, citizens crowded into shelters. Back in Brookville, Emma Lewis was preparing for a flight mission. She and her co-pilot, Jack Turner, were assigned to fly reconnaissance drones near one of the alien ships. The drones were small, but their cameras could provide close-up footage without putting humans in immediate danger. "Emma," Jack said, checking the controls, "you really think this is just a warning, or are we already under attack?" Emma shook her head. "I don't know. But we have to find out. If we can understand them, maybe we can find a way to survive." As their drone lifted off, the sky seemed to darken. The ships above Brookville were enormous, casting long shadows over farms, roads, and rivers. They didn't move like traditional spacecraft. They hovered silently, then shifted in ways that made the air feel heavy and strange. On board one of the Talirian ships, their commander, known to his people as Velker, observed Earth. Through screens and sensors, he saw humans rushing, panicking, and preparing for possible defense. Velker's massive head tilted, his 3 eyes glowing softly. "These humans are primitive," he said in a low, rumbling tone. "Yet they show signs of resistance. They will obey or they will be destroyed. Their defiance is unnecessary." Back on Earth, governments scrambled. Emergency meetings were held in bunkers and war rooms. Citizens were instructed to stay calm. Scientists were brought together to understand the technology of the aliens. Every military satellite and ship was activated. President Collins addressed the world from the White House. Her voice was steady, though inside she felt fear. People of Earth, we have been given an ultimatum. We have 48 hours to surrender. I do not know what the aliens are capable of. I do know this. We are human. We survive, we fight, and we protect our world. I urge everyone to remain calm, follow safety procedures, and trust in our defense forces. Together, we will face this challenge. Emma Lewis and Jack Turner returned from their first drone mission with footage that shocked everyone. The ships were huge, made of a dark, reflective metal. There were strange, glowing energy fields around them. The drones could not approach closer than 100 kilometers without interference. Every time they tried, the ship emitted pulses that disabled the electronics. "This is bad," Jack said, staring at the footage. "They can control electronics. How do we fight something like that?" Emma clenched her fists. "We adapt. We have to. Humans have always survived against impossible odds." In Europe, military strategists debated their options. Should they try to attack the ships directly? Could any weapon reach them? Or should humanity try diplomacy, despite the lack of response from the aliens? In underground labs, scientists worked day and night. Dr. Pierce and his team studied the energy pulses from the ships. They discovered that the pulses could overload circuits but did not harm organic tissue. "This is interesting," Dr. Pierce said. "If we can build systems that aren't purely electronic, we might stand a chance." Meanwhile, ordinary citizens were showing unexpected bravery. In small towns, neighbors helped each other prepare shelters and secure food. Communities that rarely interacted now worked together. Humanity was showing resilience, even in fear. Emma and Jack were sent on another mission, this time closer to one of the ships hovering near Chicago. The drones detected movement, structures inside the ship, beings that seemed humanoid but taller, with metallic skin that shimmered under the ship's lights. "They're watching us," Jack whispered. "They can see the drones, maybe even us." Emma nodded. "Then we know they are intelligent. We need to study them carefully. Every detail counts." As night fell across Earth, the world held its breath. Lights from cities flickered, people stared at the sky, and the massive ships above seemed to hum with quiet menace. 48 hours were all humanity had. But in those hours, something unexpected began to emerge. Humans did not panic completely. They did not surrender. They began to prepare, not just to survive, but to fight. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians all worked together. The history of humanity was full of wars and disasters, yet somehow in this moment that history became their strength. Emma Lewis returned to the base and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Talirians waited, expecting compliance. They did not know humanity. They did not know what humans could do when they were cornered. Jack joined her, his face tired but determined. "Do you think we can really fight them?" Emma smiled faintly. "We don't know yet, but if there's one thing humans are good at, it's surprising the universe." And above them, the Talirian ships glowed against the night sky, unaware that the countdown they had started might not lead to the obedience they expected. The stage was set. Humanity had 48 hours, but what they chose to do in that time would change the galaxy forever. The morning after the Talirians' message, Earth was a planet on edge. Across continents, people were awake long before sunrise. Sirens, alerts, and emergency broadcasts filled the air, but amid the fear, a strange energy of determination spread. Humanity had been given 48 hours to surrender. Some would panic, some would cry, but most were beginning to prepare. At the United States Defense Command, President Margaret Collins, General Harris, and Dr. Alan Pierce gathered for an emergency briefing. Maps and holographic displays showed the locations of the Talirian ships hovering above cities and oceans. Their numbers were beyond comprehension. Each one was larger than the biggest aircraft carriers, their surfaces reflecting sunlight like mirrors, their shapes unfamiliar and alien. "We have 47 hours and 20 minutes left," President Collins said firmly. "I want options, every possible option." General Harris tapped a holographic display. Madam President, direct attack is impossible. Their energy shields block missiles, and any electronic weapon fails within their range. Our best chance is to disrupt their systems indirectly. Dr. Pierce leaned forward. The Talirians' energy pulses disable electronics, but they do not affect organic matter. If we use manual or mechanical systems, we can create devices they cannot interfere with. We need to think like them, not like us. In a small workshop near Detroit, a team of engineers and mechanics were already working. Among them was a young engineer, Lucas Mayer, who had been designing drones for years. When he heard about the Talirians' attack, he quickly gathered a team. "We can make drones that are not fully electronic," Lucas explained to his group. "Hydraulic systems, mechanical relays, analog cameras, something they cannot disrupt. If we can get close enough to the ships, we might gather information or even sabotage them." Meanwhile in Kansas, Emma Lewis and Jack Turner were back in the Air Force Base, analyzing new footage from reconnaissance drones. They had seen the aliens move inside their ships with precision and intelligence. Unlike humans, the Talirians worked as a single, coordinated unit. But there was something else. They had a rhythm, a pattern, and that might be a weakness. "They are not completely random," Emma said, pointing at the screen. "See, every movement follows a sequence. If we can understand it, we might predict their actions." Jack nodded. "Predicting is one thing, stopping them is another." In Washington, world leaders convened via secure video calls. Russia, China, India, and Europe shared intelligence. Despite their differences, humanity was united by fear and necessity. Together, they began to plan a coordinated response. "We can't fight them directly," said President Collins, "but we can be smart. We can slow them down, confuse them, and buy time. Humanity survives not because we are the strongest, but because we adapt." In the deserts of Nevada, a massive assembly of vehicles, tanks, and experimental machines was being prepared. Soldiers worked alongside engineers and civilians. Makeshift weapons were built, combining old technology with new ideas. Improvised railguns, mechanical launchers, and manually operated cannons filled the bases. Lucas Mayer's team sent one of their new drones into the sky. It was slow, mechanical, and clunky compared to modern drones, but it flew. It approached one of the Talirian ships hovering near Chicago. As expected, the alien ship emitted its disabling pulse. The drone's electronic components failed, but its mechanical parts carried it forward. It reached the ship, scanned its surface, and returned with valuable data. "They don't expect this," Lucas said proudly. "They assume everything relies on electronics. We can use that." Emma and Jack coordinated with Lucas. Together, they designed a plan to deploy multiple mechanical drones over major cities. Each drone carried cameras, sensors, and small devices to study the ships. At the same time, humanity's scientists discovered something unusual about the Talirians. Their shields were not perfect. Under specific angles of sunlight and certain vibrations, small areas of their armor flickered, weakening temporarily. It was a small opportunity, but in war, even small opportunities counted. While humans worked, the Talirians observed. Commander Velker was growing impatient. "The humans are not obeying," he said. "They should comply, yet they prepare. They are unusual." Velker's council, a group of 3 other commanders, whispered among themselves. "Their defenses are primitive," one said. "Yet they move with coordination. They build machines that resist our pulses. It is surprising." Velker's 3 eyes narrowed. "Prepare for escalation. If they do not surrender, they will learn the consequences." Back on Earth, not everyone trusted the government. Panic spread in some regions, with looters and chaos threatening order. But in most places, people came together. Neighborhoods organized defense teams. Farmers provided food. Doctors treated the injured. Humanity's strength was not just in its weapons or technology. It was in its unity. Emma and Jack received orders to fly one of the mechanical drones close to a Talirian ship near New York City. The city below was already under partial evacuation. Streets were empty except for military vehicles. As the drone approached, it detected movement inside the alien ship. There were creatures inside, tall and metallic, but they seemed curious, watching the earth below. "They are observing," Jack whispered. "Not attacking yet." Emma nodded. "They are calculating. We need to keep studying them." In a secret laboratory under the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Pierce worked with chemists and engineers to build devices that could mimic the Talirians' energy pulses. If they could replicate the effect, even partially, humans might be able to counterattack. "This is risky," Dr. Pierce warned. "If we fail, we could attract their attention and be destroyed instantly. But if we succeed, we gain leverage." Across the globe, humanity's response was growing bolder. In London, engineers were building catapults and mechanical launchers. In Tokyo, citizens were designing makeshift barriers and decoys. In Rio de Janeiro, volunteers were setting up shelters and preparing emergency supplies. For the first time since the Talirians arrived, humanity was acting as one. Fear was still present, but it did not paralyze. Instead, it became a force driving creativity, courage, and determination. As the first night approached, the Talirians hovered silently over major cities. Their eyes scanned, their sensors hummed, and their commanders grew uneasy. Humans were not obeying. Humans were preparing. Emma and Jack returned from their drone mission with valuable footage. They had seen patterns in the Talirian movements, weak spots in the energy shields, and potential vulnerabilities in the ship's design. "We have something to work with," Emma said. "We can plan an operation." "Not an attack yet, just a test. A message," Jack looked at her. "A message to tell them we won't surrender," Emma smiled faintly. "Exactly, they think we are weak. Let's show them we are not." In the skies above Earth, the Talirian ships began subtle maneuvers. They adjusted their positions, hovering over cities as if trying to intimidate. But Earth's people did not flinch. Across continents, humans worked through the night, building, studying, and preparing. And in the command centers, scientists, engineers, and soldiers realized something remarkable. Humans had less than 47 hours to survive. But in that time, they were learning more about the invaders than the aliens were learning about them. Commander Velker did not understand it. "They are unpredictable," he said. "They do not fear, they adapt. It is troubling." Emma, Jack, Lucas, and Dr. Pierce gathered in a secure room studying data. They were ready to act, but they knew that one wrong move could be catastrophic. "We need to send a signal," Lucas said. "A demonstration, nothing deadly, just enough to show them we are not defenseless." Emma nodded. "We can use the mechanical drones. We can mimic their energy pulses. We can disrupt one small ship temporarily. It will be a warning." Dr. Pierce worked with the team to design a device that could generate a controlled energy pulse, using mechanical amplifiers and chemical energy. It was dangerous, experimental, and unpredictable, but it was the first chance humanity had to respond. As the hours passed, tension grew. The Talirians' 48-hour countdown was approaching the halfway mark. Across the world, people waited, hoping that their leaders could find a solution, that someone could protect them from the invaders. In the quiet moments, Emma looked out the window of the base. The ships above were enormous and silent, but she felt something humans had always felt in moments of danger: determination. They would not give up. They would not surrender. Jack joined her. "Do you think we can really do this?" Emma's eyes met his. "We have no choice. If we survive, it will be because we dared to fight, even when it seemed impossible." And above Earth, the Talirians watched. They expected fear, obedience, and surrender. What they were seeing instead was something new, something unexpected. Humanity was rising, not in panic but in preparation. The stage was set for the first move. Humanity had less than 47 hours, but they were ready to take a risk, to fight in their own way, and to show the galaxy that Earth was not to be underestimated. The countdown continued. The sun rose over the horizon, casting long shadows across the Earth cities. The Talirian ships remained in the sky, their massive forms blocking the light in some areas, creating a strange twilight even in the morning. Humanity had less than 45 hours to comply or resist, but for the first time, many people on Earth felt hope. Emma Lewis and Jack Turner stood in the control room at the Air Force Base. Mechanical drones, reinforced with chemical energy amplifiers, lined the hangars. Engineers moved quickly, testing each one, making adjustments, ensuring that even the smallest failure could be avoided. "We're ready," Emma said, her voice steady despite the tension. "We have data on their shields, their movement patterns, and their energy pulses. Now we act." Lucas Mayer joined them holding a small, complex device. "This is the pulse generator," he explained. "It's small but powerful. It can disrupt one section of a Talirian ship temporarily. Nothing fatal, just enough to show them humans can fight back." Jack frowned. "You're sure this won't destroy the drone?" Lucas smiled faintly. "It's risky, but it's worth it." Dr. Alan Pierce entered the room with a map. "The Talirians are hovering over major cities, but I've identified a smaller ship near Denver. It's isolated. That's our target." Emma nodded. "Then we do it. We launch at sunrise. One drone, one ship. Minimal exposure, maximum message." As preparations continued, the world watched. People stayed indoors, aware that something unprecedented was about to happen. News channels, which had been filled with panic and speculation, now reported with cautious optimism. Humanity was taking action. The mechanical drone, equipped with the pulse generator, lifted off. It moved slowly compared to modern aircraft, but it was silent in the way the Talirian's sensors could not detect. The city below Denver was empty. Roads were barricaded. Soldiers and engineers monitored the operation from a secure location. Emma guided the drone with precision. Jack monitored the energy readings. Lucas watched the pulse generator's output, ensuring it did not exceed safe limits. As the drone approached the Talirian ship, a subtle vibration passed through the air. The ship emitted its energy pulse, attempting to disrupt the drone. But the mechanical systems held. The drone moved closer, reaching a calculated position beneath one of the ship's lower hull panels. Emma held her breath. "Now," she whispered. Lucas activated the pulse generator. A surge of energy shot upward, striking the ship's surface. For a moment the ship shimmered, its energy shields flickering. The lights on its hull dimmed, then pulsed erratically. Jack grinned. "It worked. They're affected." Suddenly, the ship emitted a bright flash of light, almost blinding. The drone's cameras captured the Talirian crew inside. The beings froze as if startled. Velker's 3 eyes glowed brightly, and he bellowed in a low, resonant voice. "Humans, they dare," he growled. Back on Earth, monitors displayed the flickering of the Talirian ship's shields. It was the first sign that humanity could affect the aliens in some way. Cheers erupted in the control room. Soldiers clapped each other on the back. Emma smiled, though she knew this was only the beginning. But the Talirians were fast learners. Velker ordered the ship to move higher into the atmosphere, out of reach of mechanical drones. "Increase pulse intensity," he commanded. "Do not underestimate them again." Meanwhile, scientists worked around the clock. Dr. Pierce and Lucas analyzed the data from the successful pulse. They discovered that certain frequencies and angles amplified the effect, creating a small but repeatable weakness in the Talirian shields. "This is huge," Lucas said. "If we can scale this up, we might disrupt multiple ships at once." Emma and Jack were assigned new missions. Using the same mechanical drones, they began a coordinated operation over several cities. Each drone was slower, more vulnerable, but they carried the pulse generators that could temporarily disable the Talirian shields. Across the globe, humanity's response became bolder. In London, mechanical launchers fired reflective devices into the sky, designed to confuse the Talirians' sensors. In Tokyo, engineers deployed networks of manually controlled drones to gather intelligence. In New Delhi, citizens helped reinforce critical infrastructure with analog systems that could survive the energy pulses. The Talirians, who had expected blind compliance, were caught off guard. Commander Velker did not understand why humans did not surrender after the first demonstration. "They are not afraid," he said. "Fear should make them obey, yet they resist. Their persistence, it is unusual." Velker's council debated. "Their devices are crude," one said, "but effective against our technology. It is illogical they should not have the capability." Velker narrowed his eyes. "Prepare for escalation, but proceed with caution. They are dangerous in their unpredictability." On Earth, President Collins addressed the world once again. Her voice was calm, steady, and confident. "Today, humanity took its first step toward defending our planet," she said. "We have shown that we will not surrender. We have shown that we will fight, even when the odds are impossible. This is only the beginning, but it is a powerful beginning. Together, we will survive." Emma and Jack returned to the base after multiple successful missions. Their faces were covered in sweat, their hands sore, but their spirits were high. "Did you see Velker's reaction?" Jack asked, pointing at the monitors. "They were not expecting this." Emma nodded. "No, they weren't, and they still don't understand us, but we need to stay sharp. They will adapt and we must stay ahead." Lucas and Dr. Pierce prepared for the next phase. "We have one clear advantage," Dr. Pierce said. "The Talirians rely on predictable energy pulses. We can manipulate, vary, and amplify them in ways they don't expect. That unpredictability is our weapon." Across the world, humans were proving their resourcefulness. Farmers used simple mirrors to reflect sunlight onto the ships, confusing sensors. Engineers built mechanical decoys that mimicked cities and military bases, forcing the Talirians to waste energy on false targets. Even children contributed, designing small reflective devices and devices that could withstand the alien pulses. As night fell, the Talirians hovered over Earth silently, but unease rippled through their ranks. Velker's eyes scanned the globe, noting every disruption, every defiance. "These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered. Their courage borders on recklessness, but it is effective." Emma and Jack looked at the stars above. Each Talirian ship glowed against the night sky, but Earth was no longer passive. Humans were moving, adapting, and striking in ways the aliens could not predict. "Do you think they realize something?" Jack asked. Emma shook her head. "Not yet. But soon they will understand that humans are not weak, that we never surrender, that we fight no matter what." The mechanical drones were deployed again, this time in multiple locations simultaneously. Ships flickered under the energy pulses, shields dimming briefly, then regaining stability. But each strike was a message. Earth would not obey blindly. In Denver, Lucas watched the drones on the monitors. Every pulse, every disruption is a lesson for them. "They don't know what's coming next, and that's our advantage," Dr. Pierce added. "We are buying time. Every hour counts. We need to prepare for the final phase before the countdown ends." Velker's council grew frustrated. "These humans continue to surprise us. Every move is unexpected. They resist in ways that are illogical, yet effective." Velker's 3 eyes glowed brighter. "We underestimated them," he admitted. "We will not make that mistake again. Prepare all forces. They will learn fear soon enough." But on Earth, fear was giving way to resolve. Citizens, scientists, soldiers, and leaders were learning that the Talirians were not invincible, that even the smallest human ingenuity could affect the massive ships above. Emma, Jack, Lucas, and Dr. Pierce gathered one last time before the night's operations. They reviewed strategies, tested devices, and coordinated movements. Humanity was preparing not just to survive, but to send a message that the galaxy would remember. And in the quiet moments when the drones returned and reports came in, there was a shared understanding among the team. Humanity had found its voice. Not in surrender, not in fear, but in action, creativity, and courage. Above them, the Talirians hovered silently. They had thought 48 hours would bring submission. Instead, it brought resistance, ingenuity, and the first real signs that Earth was not defenseless. The stage was set for the next move. Humanity's first strike had succeeded. But the Talirians, with their vast technology and alien intelligence, were preparing to respond. Earth had less than 40 hours remaining. But the humans were ready to show the galaxy what it meant to fight for survival. The night had passed, and the first hours of the new day brought a tense calm across Earth. The Talirian ships hovered silently, observing every move, their massive forms casting shadows over cities and countryside alike. Humanity had already launched its first strike with mechanical drones, and the results were promising. But there was no time to celebrate. Less than 40 hours remained before the aliens' deadline. At the Air Force Base, Emma Lewis and Jack Turner reviewed reports from the previous night. Drones had successfully disrupted several Talirian ships in multiple locations. Shields had flickered, energy pulses had momentarily failed, and the aliens were beginning to adapt, but slowly. "They are learning," Jack said, rubbing his eyes. "We can't keep hitting them the same way. We need to vary our approach." Emma nodded. "Exactly. That's the advantage we have. Humans are unpredictable. We can change tactics, improvise, and force them to make mistakes." Lucas Mayer entered the room carrying another device. "We've upgraded the pulse generators. They can now produce stronger bursts for longer periods. We can hit more ships at once, though it will push the drones to their limits." Dr. Alan Pierce studied a holographic display showing the Talirian fleet. "We also found something interesting," he said. "Some of their ships are too large to maneuver quickly. They rely on smaller ships for recon and protection. If we focus on the smaller vessels first, we can create openings for larger operations." President Margaret Collins held a video briefing with world leaders. "Humanity's first strike has worked," she said calmly. "But this is only the beginning. We need coordinated action. Every country must contribute to defense, intelligence, and logistics. Humanity survives through unity, not division." Across the globe, ordinary citizens played crucial roles. In small towns, volunteers prepared shelters, stocked supplies, and maintained communication lines. Farmers transported food to urban centers. Engineers and scientists worked in shifts around the clock. Humanity's determination was growing with every passing hour. Emma and Jack were sent on a new mission, this time with multiple mechanical drones carrying upgraded pulse generators. Their target was a cluster of Talirian ships near Chicago. The city had been partially evacuated, but streets were reinforced with barricades and defenses. As the drones ascended, the Talirian ships detected movement. Energy pulses shot outward, attempting to disable them, but the drones, designed to resist electronic interference, pressed forward. "Hold steady," Emma said. "We need precise timing." Jack monitored energy outputs. "The pulses are stronger than last night, but our shields are holding just a little further." The drones reached the first ship. Lucas activated the pulse generators. A surge of energy struck the ship's hull. For the first time, the aliens' shields completely faltered. Lights flickered, internal systems scrambled, and alarms echoed across the Talirian vessels. Velker's 3 eyes narrowed. "Humans, they adapt faster than we expected," he growled. "Send reinforcements, protect the ships, crush their resistance." But the humans did not stop. Mechanical drones moved in precise coordination, striking ships from multiple angles. Small, medium, and large vessels were affected. Some flickered under the pulse generators, others were forced to change formation. Humanity was showing the Talirians that Earth would not yield. In Denver, Lucas monitored data. "They are panicking," he said. "Some smaller ships are retreating, others are colliding. Our unpredictability is working." Dr. Pierce added, "They don't understand that humans fight differently. We don't rely on a single strategy, we improvise. We exploit weaknesses. That is why they are struggling." Meanwhile, on the ground, citizens contributed in unexpected ways. Farmers set up reflective mirrors to confuse Talirian sensors. In coastal cities, fishermen deployed nets and rafts equipped with pulse generators, creating distractions. Engineers built mechanical decoys to simulate military installations. Children and volunteers helped maintain communication lines, ensuring coordination between cities. Even though humanity was using simple technology, their creativity and coordination were overwhelming the Talirians. Commander Velker realized that brute force alone would not win. "They are more dangerous than anticipated," Velker admitted to his council. "They think in ways we cannot predict. We must change our approach, adapt, but do so carefully. Their potential is vast." Back at the Air Force Base, Emma received new intelligence. Several smaller Talirian ships were preparing to strike key locations in the Midwest. "We have to stop them," she said. "If they destroy cities or infrastructure, it could cripple our operations." Jack nodded. "We can use the pulse generators strategically. Hit them where it counts, disrupt their attacks before they start." The team deployed drones across several cities. Pulse generators activated in perfect coordination, striking enemy ships as they moved toward their targets. Some Talirian vessels faltered mid-flight, forced to retreat. Others collided with each other in confusion. Humanity's message was clear: Earth would not surrender. In underground labs, Dr. Pierce and his team analyzed the effectiveness of the pulse generators. "We can scale this further," he said. "If we increase the number of drones and coordinate timing precisely, we can disrupt nearly half of their fleet simultaneously." Emma and Jack prepared for the next wave. "We need to push harder," Emma said. "They will adapt eventually. We must act before they regain control." As the day progressed, humanity's efforts began to turn the tide. Talirian ships, massive and intimidating, were no longer invincible. Smaller vessels fell into chaos, shields flickering, engines malfunctioning. Mechanical drones and creative strategies were proving that humans could challenge even the most advanced alien technology. Citizens across the world began to believe that survival was possible. Panic was replaced by determination. People worked together, protected each other, and contributed in every way they could. Humanity's spirit became a force as powerful as any weapon. Velker's council grew anxious. "Their unpredictability continues," one said. "They are primitive. Yet they coordinate in ways we cannot anticipate. It is disturbing." Velker's three eyes glowed with intensity. "Prepare all vessels for full engagement. Target the largest cities. We will force their surrender." But humans were ready. Across major cities, defenses were reinforced. Mechanical drones continued to disrupt ships. Reflective devices, decoys, and analog systems made direct attacks increasingly difficult. Humanity's creativity turned every simple object into a potential tool or weapon. Emma and Jack led a coordinated strike near Chicago. Drones deployed from multiple locations, converging on several Talirian ships. Pulse generators activated, energy shields faltered, and chaos erupted among the aliens. "Look at that," Jack said, watching the monitors. "They are retreating. Some of them are leaving the area." Emma smiled faintly. "This is only the beginning. They thought fear would make us obey. They were wrong." In the Talirian command ship, Velker growled. "These humans, they defy logic. Their courage, it is dangerous. Prepare countermeasures, but be wary. They are learning faster than expected." Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity continued to organize. In small towns, volunteers repaired damaged infrastructure, keeping operations running smoothly. Farmers and engineers transported supplies, built mechanical systems, and supported the coordinated strikes. President Collins addressed the nation once more. Humanity has shown that we will not surrender. Our ingenuity, courage, and unity are our greatest weapons. Today we have turned the tide. Tomorrow we will continue to fight and we will survive. The Talirians underestimated us. That was their first mistake. Let us ensure it is not their last. Emma and Jack looked out at the horizon. The Talirian ships were still present, massive and threatening, but they were no longer untouchable. Humanity had proven that even the smallest innovations, the simplest mechanical devices, and the courage of ordinary people could challenge the most advanced alien technology. "Do you think they understand now?" Jack asked. Emma shook her head. "Not yet, but they will. And when they do, they'll realize that humans are not weak, not obedient, and not predictable. We fight for our world. That is something no one can take from us." The countdown continued. Less than 35 hours remained, but Earth had already changed. Humanity had turned the tide for the first time. They were no longer passive. They were active, creative, and united. The Talirians had underestimated them, and that would prove to be a costly mistake. Above Earth, the alien ships adjusted their formations, preparing for a counterattack. But humans had learned something crucial: fear would not control them. Survival depended on courage, ingenuity, and unity, and humanity had all three. The next phase of the battle was about to begin. The hours counted down relentlessly. Less than 24 remained before the Talirians' deadline. Yet Earth was no longer silent, no longer trembling in fear. Humanity had transformed the planet into a living network of resistance. From the deserts of Nevada to the forests of Canada, from the coasts of Japan to the plains of Africa, humans were united in purpose: to survive and to fight. At the Air Force Base, Emma Lewis, Jack Turner, and Lucas Mayer reviewed the plans for the largest coordinated strike yet. Mechanical drones, pulse generators, decoys, and reflective devices had been deployed across multiple continents. This time it would not be a simple disruption. It would be a message, a clear, undeniable statement to the Talirians. Dr. Alan Pierce pointed at a holographic map. "We have identified the command ship, Velker's vessel, hovering above the Pacific Ocean. It is the central node controlling the fleet. If we can disrupt it, we can paralyze the rest of the ships temporarily." Emma nodded. "That's our target, but it will be dangerous. The command ship is heavily guarded. We need precision, timing, and maximum coordination." Jack tightened his grip on the controls. "We've come this far. We can't back down now. Humanity is counting on us." Lucas activated the pulse generators. "This is the culmination of all our work. Every upgrade, every adjustment, every test, we put it together here. Let's make it count." Meanwhile, across the globe, humanity's defenses were ready. Citizens manned observation posts, volunteers guided drones, and engineers ensured communication lines remained operational. Even in small towns, people watched the skies with hope and determination, knowing their actions mattered. President Margaret Collins addressed the world. "People of Earth, we face a moment that will define our species. The Talirians have demanded surrender. We will not comply. Today we fight not out of hatred but out of the will to survive. Let our courage, ingenuity, and unity shine. The world is watching, and history will remember what we do." As the mechanical drones moved toward the Pacific, the Talirian sensors detected them. Energy pulses shot outward, attempting to disable the drones. Some were affected, but redundancy systems and mechanical engineering allowed most to continue. The drones approached the command ship in perfect synchronization. "Coordinates confirmed," Emma said. "Pulse generators ready." Jack activated the first wave. The energy surged upward, striking the command ship's hull. Velker's vessel flickered, lights dimmed, and internal systems scrambled. Smaller ships surrounding it faltered as the network controlling them began to fail. Velker's 3 eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible," he bellowed. "These humans, they adapt faster than any species we have encountered." The second wave of drones followed, striking from a different angle. The command ship's shields weakened further. Internal alarms rang endlessly. Ships that relied on the command vessel for coordination became chaotic, some colliding, others retreating in disarray. Lucas monitored the output. "They're destabilized. It's working," Dr. Pierce added. "We're hitting the nerve center. The Talirians will have to respond quickly or lose control of their fleet." On the ground, civilians watched the skies. Even though the alien ships were massive and terrifying, they flickered, faltered, and behaved unpredictably. Humanity's ingenuity was on full display. Farmers, engineers, and volunteers had all contributed, each action amplifying the impact of the strike. Emma guided the final set of drones toward the command ship. Each drone carried enhanced pulse generators, reflecting sunlight and energy to maximize disruption. The combined effect was overwhelming. The command ship shook under the assault, shields failing completely in multiple areas. Smaller Talirian ships were thrown into confusion, colliding with each other or retreating. Velker roared in anger. "This is not possible." "Humans, they should obey." Jack watched the monitors with a mix of awe and determination. "They're not obeying, they never do, and they never will." With one final coordinated surge, the drones struck the command ship directly. Energy pulses overloaded critical systems, and the vessel shuddered violently. For the first time, the Talirians felt vulnerability. Ships that had seemed invincible were now exposed, chaotic, and ineffective. Across the globe, people cheered. Cities that had once been silent under the alien presence now erupted with hope. Humanity had sent a clear message. Earth would not surrender, and humans would fight with every resource, every idea, and every ounce of courage they had. Velker's council was in chaos. "They have disabled our command ship," one said. "Our fleet cannot function without it." Velker's eyes burned with frustration. "We underestimated them. That is our greatest error. Regroup. Evacuate non-essential ships. We will reconsider our approach." But it was too late. Humanity's ingenuity and relentless determination had proven too much. The Talirian fleet began to retreat, reforming into defensive formations, leaving Earth's skies for the moment. Emma and Jack returned to base, exhausted but triumphant. Lucas and Dr. Pierce joined them, faces illuminated by relief and pride. "We did it," Emma said quietly, looking out at the horizon. "We survived, and we showed them what humans are capable of." Jack smiled. "They came expecting fear. They found courage, strategy, and unity. That's something no technology can overcome." Across the world, humanity celebrated, but the lessons were clear. The battle was not over. The Talirians had retreated for now, but they would return. Earth had survived because humans had worked together, adapted quickly, and refused to surrender. President Collins addressed the planet once more. "Today, humanity stood united. Today, we showed that no threat, no matter how advanced, can break our spirit. We survived because we were brave, inventive, and cooperative. Let the galaxy know that Earth is not to be underestimated. And let every human know that courage can overcome fear, and unity can overcome any challenge." In secret labs, engineers and scientists continued to improve defenses. Mechanical drones, pulse generators, and reflective systems were refined, ensuring humanity would be ready if the Talirians returned. Emma and Jack trained new pilots, sharing their experience and knowledge. Lucas worked on further mechanical innovations. Dr. Pierce studied the Talirians' technology, ensuring humanity would never be caught unprepared again. Across the world, ordinary people rebuilt, strengthened, and prepared. Farmers, engineers, doctors, volunteers, and soldiers all contributed, proving that every individual could make a difference. Above Earth, the Talirian fleet retreated toward the edges of the solar system. Velker's eyes glowed with reluctant respect. Humans, they are not weak. They are extraordinary. We will return, but we must rethink our approach. But Earth had changed. Humanity had proven its strength, resilience, and ingenuity. They had faced an impossible threat and survived, not through fear, not through surrender, but through determination, creativity, and unity. Emma stood on the Air Force Base runway looking at the sky. The stars shone brightly, but the Talirian ships were gone for now. She turned to Jack. "We did what no one expected," she said. "We showed them that humans are not weak. We fought for our planet, for our future, and for each other. That is what makes us strong." Jack nodded. "And next time they will know that Earth will never surrender." "Not ever." Lucas joined them, carrying a new mechanical drone prototype. "We are ready for anything," he said. "They may come back, but we are not afraid." Dr. Pierce looked at the sky with quiet pride. Humans have always survived against impossible odds. Today was another proof. The galaxy may have underestimated us, but they will not again. Across the world, people celebrated quietly and openly. Streets filled with cheers, communities embraced, and families reunited. Humanity had faced extinction and survived. They had faced the unknown and triumphed. And in the vast darkness of space, the Talirians recalculated, realizing that Earth was no ordinary planet. Its people were not ordinary beings. Humanity had proven its worth, not just to itself, but to the galaxy. For now, the Talirians had retreated, leaving Earth in peace. But humanity knew this was only the beginning. The future would bring challenges, conflicts, and unknown threats. Yet one truth remained clear. Humans would face every challenge with courage, creativity, and unity. Emma, Jack, Lucas, and Dr. Pierce stood together, watching the sunrise. The Earth was safe, for the moment, but the message was sent. The galaxy would remember: Earth fights, Earth survives, Earth will never surrender. And with that, humanity's legend had begun.